Do you guys know the term Souls-like? A Souls-like game is a game with similar elements to Dark Souls. Usually this involves higher difficulty or being relatively difficult, stamina, dodging, parrying, rolling. And in the same vein, the term roguelike also has similar origins. Instead of referencing the game Dark Souls here, the game in question is Rogue. Rogue is a pretty old game. In fact, Rogue is such an old game that the graphics are all ASCII characters. This video, however, is not about the history of roguelikes, but these are some games I'd like to recommend to you guys. In my opinion, they're pretty fun. My first recommendation is Pixel Dungeon. Pixel Dungeon, it looks a bit simple, it kind of is a bit simple, but it is surprisingly still pretty complex. Even though it looks like quite a bit of a simple game, it still also has its depth and the gameplay mechanics and the different classes. It has some pretty classic roguelike elements to it as well. Pixel Dungeon is pretty simple and easy to get behind, so we're just going to go this off real quick. So different classes have different perks. Like the warrior starts with more strength, different weapons, and different skills. And also there's challenges and legacy mode. I have yet to beat the game on this version, so I don't have the Tome of Mastery or challenges unlocked, but basically we're looking for the Amulet of Yender, which is also the same thing. The game structure is similar to Rogue as well. I believe you're looking for the Amulet of Yender and you're descending 25 floors and then you come up 25. I think you don't necessarily come up the 25 floors in Pixel Dungeon unless they changed it, I don't recall. But anyways. So this grass here, we can walk diagonally and dewdrops can drop from grass. Grass can also be lit on fire, lighting everything else on the floor on fire. And here, like for example, there's an enemy here, so the logical approach here is actually to wait. So we just wait a turn and then we attack. The reason being, enemies and yourself can only perform one action, and then the whole map basically updates. So you see if I walk back here to the door, the rat also moves back with me. So that enemy knows me and woke up. But if I walk, like, enemies can only walk one tile. And we can also walk only one tile, so if we walk down like that, we'll be attacked. So if you play around this mechanic a bit, it's pretty huge for you. And we have items here. They aren't identified though. To identify them, you'd have to use them or use an identify scroll. So for example, if we can throw this, or we can drink it, just to be safe. If it's a fire potion, we'll drink it here. It was a healing potion, we've identified healing. And then we can zap here. Let's try this. It appears to be a fire wand, yep. We don't know how many charges it has unless it's identified. We got the dew vial. The dew vial is a pretty good item. We can store dew in our dew vial up to 10. And then if it's full, it'll automatically activate, similar to like a fairy in the bottle. And as you can see, we cannot leave the pixel dungeon. So we must descend 24 floors. And then we can exit out safely. The game has a lot of depth. It's hard to showcase it all here, but for example, well, if we can find something interactable, I'll just look at this floor real quick. So that's the staircase down to the next floor. Also, no, there wasn't. Alright. So let's try finding, alright, we have a key, gold, food. So our character actually can get hungry, and if they're too hungry, they'll start taking damage. I believe the silver keys actually are for a door on this level, actually. So we should go ahead and find it. We can. There it is. I got an achievement for that. Interesting. Anyway, you can see the debuff there. We are now hungry. Our character won't regen, I believe, as well. And there is equipment here. So equipment can also potentially be cursed as well. So we also don't know its durability, I think, but we do know this is a cloth armor of bounce. We know this one is a mail armor. They also have stat requirements, which our character right now, how do we check? Oh, with examine cell, right? Alright. Our character is 11 strength, which can increase from leveling up and, yeah, leveling up and stuff. We also, I don't remember what an Ankh is. I think Ankhs might also be like a fairy in the bottle. This just basically has our stats. And, yeah. That's basically a pixel dungeon for you. Next up, we have the Enchanted Cave 2. The Enchanted Cave 2 is also a bit different because there's actually a hub you can go back to. You need the enchanted wings to go from the cave back to the town. But the catch here is if you die, you lose everything. But you can get a lot of stuff from inside the dungeon, and when you get stuff from the dungeon, there's some things that stay and some things that you don't get to keep. I believe you get to keep all your gold and artifact items, but you don't get to keep your other items. The only things you can keep are the things denoted in gold, and there's also a level up system as well. So this game is a bit about testing how greedy you are and if your greed pays off or not, which is basically in essence what roguelikes are about anyways. So this is the Enchanted Cave 2. There's also a free browser version, but this version has some more features and modes and such. The story mode, Monster's Lair, there's the Labyrinth, Green Goose Quest. So we'll just go with classic story mode. We have different characters as well, and the original we only have this character, I believe, or the browser version, whichever one. We have quite a few characters here, but we'll just go with classical Graham. Alright. So basically we're just going to head into the cave. I'll, I guess, explain, yep. So there's a ton of treasure inside, and each time you go in there are stairs that go down, but not back up. And the only way to leave is with the escape wings. Treasures are randomized, and the floors are also randomized. And equipment and stuff like this are cursed, and if you escape the cave, they'll be destroyed. Stuff that's yellow, items with a golden border, stat gems, gold XP, yep, all that stuff. You keep this stuff forever. So basically you just want to keep diving into the cave and yep, we just keep going into the cave. There's also an enchantment system, so yep, we got an attack gem there. And basically every single floor, the enemies get harder and the loot gets better. But if you greed too hard and end up dying, then in that case, we have our first artifact, hard leather boots. So we can go ahead and equip this. Yeah. So there's also a bit of lore in this game as well. So the floors will be harder, but the loot will be better, but if you greed, you will lose everything. That is the basic aspects of this game. There are different items and magics you can also learn as well. I don't know if it makes a difference or not using these stairs or the other ones. But yep, we'll go with floor 2. I believe the different types of chests denote possibly what they have. I don't think you can get artifacts from non-red chests. And yep, we're just killing these guys. Trying to... Right now I want to try to just get a high amount of attack. And we'll go for... here. Alright. We 2-hit everything right now. Alright, that's great. So after a while, the game will get more difficult. So right now it's still easy. And right now we can't actually run or leave because we don't have the escape wings yet. So we have to go deeper. And we're killing stuff for XP as well. Still no escape wings. More attack. Alright, now we have the escape wings. Now we can leave whenever we want. A bit later you'll be able to choose what floor you start on as well. But I believe, if I recall correctly, leaving a floor, just starting at a floor, you won't start with the escape wings, so you'll have to find them, and I think it's like multiples of 5 or something, or 10, I don't remember. My health is getting a bit low, so if I end up dying, that'll be pretty bad. I guess we should change up our gear a bit. Maybe it'll make a difference. So as you can see, we haven't gotten any recovery items and our HP is getting low. I still want to see if I can get as far as possible though. I think I might be able to beat a spider. How do I identify you don't get numerical values, let's see. Oh yeah, we can kill spiders. It's not the easiest thing in the world for us right now, but it's doable. Now we can play a little more smart, I suppose you would call it. Let's hope for a plank shield. Well, better than nothing. We also have one magic pickaxe, so we can break one tile of wall. I want to see if we can get lower, see if we can find another artifact chest. The only thing we're bringing back is our gold right now, and the stat increases we found. I don't want to really fight that spider, so I'll just break that portion of the wall. I can see that stat gem right there. +1 magic. Nothing else really on this floor. We're a bit weak. I'll kill these bats, try to get some EXP. We can leave whenever, but we get to choose our battles, which is interesting. Yeah, I don't think we can handle going much further without consumables. So let's kill this mushroom man first. And I think we have enough health to kill one more. Yep. We can't really go much further, so we'll just leave. So we end up finding some stat gems, and we leveled up a few times, and we only get to keep the hard leather boots and the stat gems. And you just keep doing this and going back down into the cave. As you can see, the entrance is already gone here. So we can just keep going down, back down, and up again. Keep going down later floors, and it'll get more challenging. The next game I recommend is One-Way Heroics. Specifically, the Plus version. Because I haven't really played One-Way Heroics, just the normal version. But the Plus version adds more stuff, and more classes, more items, and also, I believe, balancing changes as well, aside from just new content. But anyways, One-Way Heroics. It's basically also similar in the classic roguelike structure. Stuff is randomly generated, and the gimmick here is you have to move to the right. There is a wall of death that is closing in from the left, so you have to move in one direction, being right. So basically your goal here is to kill the Demon King. Well, at least initially. I haven't really gone super far into the game, but it's a pretty good game. So you start off by selecting a class. The ones you start with are Swordmaster, Knight, Hunter, I believe. I believe it is these three. So we'll just go ahead and go Swordmaster. And you get to select some perks. The base ones you start with are just Strength, Agility, Vitality, Intellect, Willpower, and Charisma, I believe. I'm pretty sure you don't get any of these. You unlock these perks by playing the game. I would recommend you start off by playing Walk in the Park if you're just learning the game. If you feel like a Giga Gamer, I guess for your first attempt, you can try Afternoon Stroll. So below here, we also have our campaign dimensions. Campaign dimensions, basically, there are special gimmicks about these dimensions. The bottom one here is, it's just remains for a week, and you can see your other people's. Well, it's the same seed for everyone because that's how it works. That's what it means when it says dimension. Insert characters here. That's basically the seed, and for this dimension, everyone with the game can just go ahead and play this, and you can see like the messages to the left, and everyone's playing the same seed. Yep. And there's some gimmicks here, like the darkness moves faster than normal, higher experience, the healer Dosi appears at the Castle of Beginnings. Yeah. And And then this here shows your last 3 dimensions that you've played. So we're going to go ahead and make a new world then. We'll go with Afternoon Stroll, because I'm a gamer. I don't remember what class I had. So then you have tips here. So the king will explain to you basically what happens here, and you have a bit of a death recap, what you died to last time when you start up the game. So we're going to go ahead, and the first thing you want to be doing is there's actually a box here. I have the lock-picking skill, so I can go ahead and instantly open that up with my lock-picking skill. But if you are just starting out, you won't have the lock-picking skill available probably. So you'll just basically you would attack the box. And then this NPC here, well, we'll leave that NPC alone for now. But the next thing you want to do is you want to talk to Grandma over here, you know, sensible old lady. She'll tell you locations and mark them on your minimap for you for later. And it'll show up as like blue spots on your minimap. Like, as you can see, there's one right there right now. For these enemies, I believe I wait here, they'll walk into me, and then I can just kill it, yep. And then here, I'll wait here. Similar kinds of tactics as you would use in like Pixel Dungeon. So we would wait here, and when we do that, we get the first hit, which is a pretty big advantage. So item appraiser, we don't have any unknown items, no point in that. So we also have our energy and our stamina. So I have healing herbs, I can manage my resources, and basically you wanna just get as strong as you can and defeat the Demon Lord. I think there's a bit more to the game than this though, but this is where I am at in the game anyways right now. We got some treasure chest keys as well. And our charisma is at 1. So if we end up seeing any characters on the minimap, which it will show us. So for that stone-looking fellow, he actually throws projectiles, so you can only throw diagonally or vertically and horizontally. So if you walk around him in a certain way, you can force him to walk into you without throwing projectiles at you. So we got our first item here. We were able to identify that it was some kind of leather armor, perhaps. Not completely clear. Oh, we're getting our ass beat a bit. We got a vial of healing. Very good. Oh, whoops. Yeah, as you can see, I misplayed there because I walked into that. I saw the harpy there. And we also have the option of using awakenings, which stop time for 3 turns, which you just have the option to do that. You have 5 awakenings per run. Every single class gets them. And you also have somewhat unique class skills that you get when you reach certain levels. Kind of through that run though. So the last roguelike game I'd like to recommend to you guys is Vagante. And this game is more fast-paced than the other games I've recommended, but it's still fun nonetheless. As you can see on screen, it's categorized as an action roguelike, different from the other games in the sense that even if you aren't moving, the enemies are moving, and little things like that. Vagante has multiplayer for local and online, and a level editor as well, and a workshop as well to share said levels and stuff. And there is some modding that has been done for Vagante. I haven't really looked at it recently though. It is also similar to Spelunky. Spelunky has a good amount of commonalities, but the atmosphere of Vagante and the kind of weaponry you use in Vagante is quite different from Spelunky, and a lot of the mechanics are also a bit different, such as the leveling system and the skill tree, equipment. There's quite a bit of difference and overlap. So if you enjoyed Spelunky, you would probably enjoy Vagante as well. The soundtrack for Vagante honestly is pretty nice, as well as the other games I have recommended, but the one I'm going to have to hate on the most here is Pixel Dungeon. This Pixel Dungeon doesn't actually offer you a slider, and instead it just has a turn sound effects on and off, or toggle music off, toggle effects off, but the soundtrack isn't that bad, but if I sound quiet in that part of the video, it's because I kind of probably messed up the audio a bit there. Didn't set up my volume mixer quite right. And I'll have to lower the volume a bit for that part, but anyways, we have our basic classes. The Knight, Rogue, Mage, Wildling, I guess. And then we don't talk about this one. And then we have the random option here. Yep, random. Anyway. So we have all our backgrounds here. You don't start off with any backgrounds, you unlock them as you play the game. And we'll start off with some classic Knight. I forgot to select my background. I guess we'll just go with let's go with something wholesome like Disciple of the Smith. Alright. It's not too hard to make some custom sprites for your characters if you wish. This is a pretty good for a shop. You can pick up these crates, throw them. So we're just looking around for items. We can pick up stuff, throw stuff. So the movement here I'm doing is basically to make sure I don't get hit. Because if I get hit, it's not, health isn't that easily recoverable. And that is one of the most important resources here. Gold is kind of limited as well. It's kind of capped on the floor depending on RNG and what enemies spawn and where and whatnot. So not much to worry about in that department. There's also multiplayer scaling as well. Depending on how many players there are, the game difficulty will adjust. I will just punch a dragon to death because I feel like it though. So by using my terrain like this, I can beat the dragon quite easily. All the bosses have pretty set pattern. Usually their attacks involve threes, such as the dragon here. Has 2 attacks. Oh, I got hit. That's bad. And it's dead. It has about 100 health. The dragon, and every boss will drop a key. There will be a big chest. Oh, also, I guess I can show this off. Oh, if the enemy would cooperate. Up. Damn, so close. But yet so far. Cooperate. Up. 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 Buddy. Come up. And drop down. Alright. Let's try it this way. It doesn't work. Alright. Wait, can you come this way, buddy? Alright, this way? I believe in you. You can do it. Let's go. So, drop down. The spikes are actually instant death to both enemies and players. Took a bit of attempts. This rat here, I believe we can cook this rat and get a rat on a stick. So we can open this chest with our key, or we can save it for the door. And if you open all of the locked doors and get the orbs within, you unlock a secret ending. Also, all items in the big chest are identified. Similar to Pixel Dungeon, all of these items are not identified, and they can potentially have curses on them. One-way heroics, curses don't exist on gear, I don't think. At least I've never been cursed. Maybe I've just been lucky in all my runs, but I don't think you can be cursed. So now that we have the 35 gold, we can return to the shopkeeper. There's some niche mechanics, but we can, if we can interact with these shrines as well. This one is the light, as that text kindly points out. The light is basically if you give it 20 gold, it will give you a random amount of healing between like 1 to 20, I believe. It is RNG though, so you can get like completely insane heals or completely horrid heals. Alright, so we got a decent amount of gear here. So we'll take the IBAT with us, we can cook it at the bonfire here. And then we can proceed. After we use the bonfire, we get a point to level up. I wouldn't recommend doing this as a new player, but I personally like to hold some of my points early on, especially. So, depending on what items I get, I will adjust my build and go get a skill tree that complements them. Because if I, for example, go sword and don't have a good sword, then it'll be a pretty bad time. But I have at least a steel sword here. So there are also traps around the dungeon that you have to, well, dungeon, the map, the level, I guess. Also, I guess it's worth mentioning that the zoom amount, you can change that. I have it zoomed out all the way to get as much information as possible. So there's actually a pressure plate here. We could trigger it with a sword, or we could stand on the pressure plate and it'll drop this boulder down on us. You have to watch out for little things like this. There's also the scroll. Sometimes chests can be mimicked, so I have a habit of hitting them. What? Why doesn't it notice me? Alright. That was a little weird. Happens. So these books teach you spells, you can cast spells. We got a pair of gloves. So in one-way heroics, you're allowed to equip an accessory, a weapon, and armor. In Vagante, you're allowed to equip gloves, body armor, a helmet, boots, a weapon, a bow, and a trinket, I believe. So if you cannot equip 2 gloves or 2 weapons. If you equip 2 weapons, I guess you can swap between them. Your weapons, you have your melee weapons and your ranged weapons, which are different. But yeah. Oh, whoops. As you can see, you can lose HP quite fast if you're not careful. Gotta be careful of that. I shouldn't have lost all that HP over nothing. But we lucked out with getting this kind of OP dagger. This lifesteal dagger. I believe with how lifesteal works, it only works on living creatures. So it would not work against undead like zombies or machines. So there's certain enemies where they fit that criteria. Also, you can't lifesteal off of things that respawn. And the harder difficulty enemies will indefinitely respawn. It seems I might not be able to lifesteal off of slimes. There are also hidden walls to look out for. But anyways, we're going to do some stabbing. Alright. 1, 2, 3. This guy does this pattern. That move, he randomly chooses a move to perform. Here we have his dash attack, grab attack, jump attack. He always jumps 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Alright, jump attack again. 1, 2, 3. Grab attack. Dash attack. Yep. I might have just a small amount of hours in this game, as you might be able to tell. But I could tell you pretty much every single attack that a boss can perform. And as you can see, the shopkeeper has one more item here. There are a bunch of little niche mechanics like this to learn, but basically when you buy a certain amount of items, his shop upgrades and gets more items. So right now he is up to that many items. We can kind of see through this wall here. We can tell this wall is actually fake. And also there's this fairy here, which we actually have difficulty reaching. Well, not important right now. I'll figure it. Oh, there was a trap here. I knew about that trap. Don't worry about it. Anyway, this is actually a ridiculously annoying spot to get to for me. So actually, sometimes stuff like this happens, but I just got cucked by the level generation here. I think it is literally impossible for me to reach this fairy. I believe I have a bomb though, so if I do this correctly... Let's see. Okay. If I throw it on that platform and detonate it, I believe the fairy will die, actually. Because if the bomb lands on there, it can't pick it back up, and I believe the fairy can tank 1 instance of damage. And that would be the cage breaking, and then the fairy would be released. So I actually have to chance it on these gloves. They were grab walls. We can grab the fairy with no issue. These gloves also give -1 dex, but they have the grab walls effect, so lucked out there. And the chest is there, or we can go through the other area. You can also take fall damage in this game, so you have to be mindful of that as well. You can only drop so many tiles, unless you have kind of a perk, I suppose it would be. You also do end up, well, we haven't seen many shrines this run, but usually about one of every shrine shows up around every 3 levels. Usually, being the keyword. But I should probably end it here for now. So those were some of my favorite roguelike games. I hope you guys enjoy these games if you haven't played them before. Well, see ya.